Well, this is honestly kind of sad. It's like end of the rally, slurring his words, what city am I in kind of sad. Donald Trump sat down with Glenn Beck. That alone should already get us to say, oh boy, how poorly did this go? And what we got in this interview is very interesting. This was not tough guy Trump. It wasn't chaos agent Trump. It was low energy, deflated, kind of mumbling about nothing, Donald Trump. Listen to his demeanor, check out his tone. He just looks out of energy, exhausted, almost sad to see. And then, of course, you remember, damn, this guy's ruining a lot of stuff, and he doesn't even seem to have the energy for it. Take a listen.
I don't have to negotiate. I don't have to negotiate. I'm talking to people out of respect, but I don't have to. So we're this giant store that people want to come in and buy from. We're the United States. We have the richest consumer, et cetera, right? But we're not going to be that way for long if we don't do something. But we're this giant store, and they all want to come in and they want to take our product.
Now, remember that none of this is even true.
But to take our product, they're going to have to pay. And we'll either make a deal with them or we'll just set a price, because some countries are worse than others. Some countries have ripped us off really badly, and some countries have just ripped us off a little bit. But almost all of them have ripped us off because we've had really poor leadership. And what's going to happen is we're going to negotiate with, we are negotiating. We're negotiating with 70 different countries.
Now, remember that Caroline Leavitt said it was 50, but then someone else said it was 18 countries. And then we're going to negotiate. Actually, we are negotiating. This guy is totally wiped. You can hear it. The bravado with which he started the tariff fiasco is gone because of what's happening in the real world, because of what he's hearing from the retail CEOs. He is now this kind of slouched, exhausted guy with a meandering word salad. And he's cornered to a degree because the tariff plan is collapsing. Fox News is even reading the brutal polling live on the air, and his staff can't even keep up with the lies and the shifts in narrative. And this is what we get.
We're negotiating. We're showing great respect. But in the end, we may make deals, but either that or I just set a price. I said, here's what you're going to pay for the privilege of servicing the United States of America. And they have an option. They can maybe talk to me a little bit, or they can not shop. You know, they don't have to shop at this big store, or they can shop.
Right.
But in any event, they're going to have to pay. Look, we owe $36 trillion for a reason. The reason is the trade, and also the endless wars, the stupid wars that we fought.
And remember that Donald Trump still seems sort of confused between national debt and trade balance. He doesn't totally seem to get the difference between those two concepts. Are they related? Yes. In some general sense, they're related. But are they related in the way that Donald Trump seems to be thinking? No, he seems confused.
We go into the Middle East, we blow it up, we leave, we don't get anything. And you're a big fan of exactly what I'm saying, meaning let's not do this stupid stuff.
Doesn't work.
It's stupid. Endless wars that they don't even want us. You know, we got into wars they didn't even want us. So all of that stuff. You know, when I left 4 years ago, we had no wars. We had no Israel and Hamas. And by the way, it would have never happened because Iran was broke. They were broke. I had sanctions that were so strong on Iran. They were totally broke. They had no money for Hamas.
To some degree, one of the saddest parts of this is Glenn Beck, who, listen, you can say a lot of things about Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck realizes that this stuff is meaningless drivel. This is just nothing. It's vapid. Even Glenn Beck nods along and goes, oh yeah.
Hezbollah. We didn't have Russia, Ukraine. That would have never happened, by the way. We didn't have the Afghanistan embarrassment, one of the great embarrassments in the history of our country. We didn't have any inflation.
I know.
Don't forget, I charged China hundreds of billions worth of tariffs. They talk about inflation. We had no inflation.
Remember that the American importers pay the tariffs. How many times does it have to be explained to this guy?
Because that doesn't cause inflation. Stupidity causes inflation. High energy caused inflation. when they took over my energy, we were making it like nobody's ever seen. And then the prices doubled. By the way, because of that, Putin went in. If they kept, you see what's going on with energy now, it's going down.
Right.
It makes it much harder for Putin to prosecute the war.
Now understand that with regard to energy, gas prices are essentially flat since Donald Trump took office. They went down a little, spiked, and they're back down to roughly where they were when he took office. And heating bills this winter were so high that many utilities have offered deferments of taking a percentage of your bill and then spreading it out over the spring months where energy bills are presumably lower. Not something you do if energy prices are falling. So this is an improvising Donald Trump. They can choose not to shop. Is that a policy or is that a threat or is that anything? What does that even mean? And this is a real stark contrast with term number one. Term number one, he at least had the illusion of energy. He had the chance. He had the whatever you would even call it. This is, a tired guy riffing on the remains, the crumbs of a broken campaign promise. And there has been a decidedly anti-democratic move in all of this. And we have to go back to that because that's arguably the biggest story of this presidency so far. I want to introduce you to an amazing tool that has helped a huge number of people reach their health goals. It is called Lumen, and it's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath, and on the app, it'll tell you, are you burning fat or carbs, and give you tailored guidance to improve nutrition, workouts, even stress management. Your metabolism is like the engine of your body, how you turn food into fuel. And because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health can translate to many benefits, including easier weight management and improved energy levels and fitness results. It's a long list. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve metabolic health based on the context of your breath measurement, whether that's first thing in the morning, before and after meals or workouts. And you can get 20% off your Lumen by going to lumen.me/Pacman. The link is in the description.